Hi friends, I'm Abby and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be chatting through every book on my physical TBR. So I did this video last year when I first started my channel and I thought it would be time for an update, and things have changed quite significantly. So last year when I filmed this I was like, I've got 26 books on my physical TBR, it's so many. And I was like, this is so bad because back in June, before I started my channel, I only had 16 books and now I'm at 26. Abby, pull yourself together. The situation here has changed dramatically and it's a very different kettle of fish now. We're in a very different place. So I thought I would start off and talk through the books that are still remaining on my TBR from last year. So last year there were 26 books in total. I currently have 14 of those still that are on my TBR and unread, which means I've read 12 of them, logically, which I'm relatively happy with, that I have been continuing to read the books that have been on my TBR the longest. But it still means that there are 14 books here that have been on my TBR for a while. And I think a lot of these, they've been on my TBR for a while. That it's not like they have been on the TBR for a year, it's like they've been on the TBR for a year and a bit. So I thought I'd talk you through those first because those are just a quick recap of what was previously on here, and then we'll get on to the new books. Legacy of Kings by Eleanor Herman, The Traitor Barrow Cormorant by Seth Dickinson, The Song Rising by Samantha Shannon. I need to reread the first two books before I can get to this. I have Mansfield Park and Lady Susan, both by Jane Austen. I have actually now read Emma and I really enjoyed it, so hopefully these two won't be sitting on here for too long because I was scared about reading more Jane Austen and that I had nothing to be scared about. Like, I don't know where I got that idea in my head, but still two Jane Austens here. The Three Body Problem by Cixin Liu, And I Darken by Kirsten Wright, The Black Prism and The Blinding Knife by Brent Weeks, The Lies of Locke Lamora by Scott Lynch, The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss, Magician by Raymond Feast, The Shadows of Self by Brandon Sanderson, still haven't finished it, and Temeraire by Naomi Novik. So those are the recap of ones that are still sitting on the TBR. I think it seems as though quite a few of them are like intimidating fantasy series. It's not necessarily that I'm intimidated by them, it's that they're quite large and chunky and I feel like I need to dedicate a good chunk of time to reading those books. Like, it's not like I can just read them in a couple of days. It's like they're going to take a while, and so I need to like plan them in, maybe like plan in when I'm going to read the Black Prism series. So those are ones that have carried over, which I'm fine with it. They're definitely all ones that I still want to read. Like, there were some books on that TBR that I've now unhauled, that physical TBR video that I have unhauled. Some of them I've read, so it has been progressing in that number, but ideally that number needs to keep going down, so I'm not continuing to repeat those ones on every annual TBR video. Now moving into the other ones, I'm going to start with, like, I have my TBR separated, I have it all on the bottom shelves. So I have like a YA section, a sci-fi section, and then a big fantasy section. So I'll start with the YA books, move on to like contemporary random ad hoc ones, sci-fi, then fantasy. So in the YA section I have Blood and Honey by Shelby Mahurin, the second book in the Serpent and Dove series. I have Dawn Study and Night Study by Marie V. Snyder, the 8th and 9th book in the Chronicles of Ixia. I've really been getting through this series this year, reading roughly one book a month, so I'm not concerned about these staying on here for very long at all. I have Bitter Blue by Kristen Cashel, the third book in the Gracing series, so I definitely want to get to this by the end of the year as well. I have The Invisible Library by Genevieve Cogman, which is the first book in this series. I think this is quite a long series, but I love magical libraries, so I'm excited to get to this eventually. I have Legend Born by Tracy Dion, which is inspired by King Arthur, so that I'm really excited about because I love Merlin, but the first book in this series. Not quite YA, it's middle grade, but I have the first book in the Keeper of the Lost City series by Shannon Messenger. Sophia's Thoughts has really recommended this to me. I hope it's good, but again, it's a really massive series, and although it's middle grade, they're all quite large middle grades, but I am excited to give this a try. Bunny by Mona Awad. I have Invictus by Ryan Crawdon. I have really enjoyed her other books, so excited to try this one. I have The Firekeeper's Daughter by Angeline Booley. Some of my friends have really loved this book, so I hope I do too. I always think it is a fantasy book, but it is not. It's like a contemporary thriller. Yeah, this is slightly moving away from YA now into like the ad hoc section. Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and a couple of non-fiction books. I have The Gifts of Reading, Essays on the Joys of Reading, Giving and Receiving Books, which is like just some short essays written by some relatively famous authors, like explaining what they love about reading. And then I have the YouTube formula. So my dad gave me this for my birthday, so I haven't dived into it yet, but I think it could be really interesting to see what some people have to say about being on YouTube. Right, so that's that. Moving, oh no, that's not that. Moving back to YA, sorry, I forgot that there was another pile of them. I have The Lost Queen by Signe Pike. This is a Arthurian retelling following Merlin's sister, who I believe is an actual real character, a real person. She was a real historical figure. I have Fireborn by Rosaria Munda. I'm really excited to get to this because it's just got so much praise, but waiting until the third book's released next year, I believe. But I have The Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter by Theodora Goss. Excited for this. I'm excited for all of these. I shouldn't just say I'm excited, like I'm excited for everything. I have The Court of Miracles by Kester Grant. I have Chain of Iron by Cassandra Clare. I bought this, I pre-ordered this, didn't read it, and now I'm just going to wait until the third book's released until I actually get to this. I have The Prison Healer by Lynette Noni, The Last Magician by Lisa Maxwell, and Furyborn by Claire Legrand. Right, now we are actually done with the YA section. Now the YA section is done this time, it's finished. I believe, unless there's some like that snuck into somewhere else. But that is that. I'm having these all on the floor, and the thing is, I'm only like a third of the way through. It makes me realise like how many books there are. Moving into sci-fi, I have Dune by Frank Herbert, Vicious by V.E. Schwab, A Memory Called Empire by Arkady Martin, The Punch Escrow by Tal M. Clean, All Systems Red by Martha Wells, and then I'm not sure if this is more fantasy or sci-fi, but I have Middle Game by Shannon Maguire. Moving on to the first of my fantasy shelves, there are two fantasy TBR shelves now. So I have, that was all on one shelf apart from like the older TBR books that I picked off at random from different places, but all those YA and sci-fi were on one shelf, and now I have two fantasy TBR shelves. So yeah, the first of the fantasy, I have the heaviest book in the world, Dragon Maid by N.L. Spencer, The Helm of Midnight by Marina Lostetta, The Stone Knife by Anna Stevens, Oathbringer, and Rhythm of War by Brandon Sanderson. I don't have Words of Radiance. It's a very sad time. I have the first book, the third and the fourth book in these UK hardbacks, and I am missing the second one because it's like £400 to buy it used. And this one I bought second hand. I found it the other day, and it was like £10. It's in like pristine condition. You can tell it's been read, but like it's pretty much pristine. And I'm still missing book 2. If you have Words of Radiance in a UK hardback, please let me know. I have The Women's War by Jenna Glass. I have The Justice of Kings by Richard Swan. This is my first ever physical ARC. I was so excited about it, so excited, and like it's signed. I have The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. Daughter of the Forest by Juliette Marillier. Isn't this cover so pretty? Peace and Turmoil by Elliot Brooks. Upon a Burning Throne by Ashok K. Banker. This is another very stunning cover. The First Sister by Lyndon A. Lewis. This should have actually been in the sci-fi section, but it's here now. The Emperor's Blade by Brian Staveley. The Black Coast by Mike Brooks. Empire in Black and Gold by Adrian Tchaikovsky. Dreamer's Pool by Juliette Marillier. Isn't it so little and baby? Especially like when you compare it to the other Juliette Marillier book, like look how tiny this one is. I mean, it's mass market, but like tiny. The Winter King trilogy, is that what it's called? Like The Warlord Chronicles by Bernard Cornwell, all 3 books. And these are really pretty, like really pretty, but the font is tiny. It's minuscule, absolutely minuscule, but very pretty. Sticking with the King Arthur retellings, I have Lancelot by Giles Christian, I have Wild Seed by Octavia E. Butler. I loved Kindred, so very excited to read more of her books. I have A Curious Beginning by Deanna Raybourn, and The Mask of Mirrors by M.A. Carrick. Again, very excited for this. It's on my 5-star predictions. For the Wolf by Hannah Witten. I feel like this is going to be a book for me. I just sense that I'm going to really like this. The Ninth Reign by Jen Williams. Daughter of the Blood by Anne Bishop. A Promise of Fire by Amanda Boucher. The Jasmine Throne by Tasha Suri. We're now on to the second shelf of fantasy books. So I have Sister Song by Lucy Holland and Plain Bad Heroines by Emily M. Danforth. I sense, you know when you just get a sense book, like sense book's going to be for you. I think hopefully this is going to be for me. I have Trail of Lightning and Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse. So which one should I start of hers? Which one's best to read first? Because I've got 2 of her series. I have The Gutter Prayer by Gareth Hanrahan. A Fate of Wrath and Flame by K.A. Tucker. Song of Blood and Stone by L. Penelope. The very chunky book section, The Shadow of What Was Lost by James Islington. Actually, I mean, there's a lot of chunky books spread out through here, but this is a very chunky section that I've got here. The Ember Blade by Chris Wooding. So blue, so perfect. I love blue. Blue is like a favourite colour. And one I'm intimidated by, Ship of Magic by Robin Hobb. I believe we're at the end. We're nearly there. I have Mexican Gothic by Sylvia Marina Garcia, and to round it all off, I have the First Law box set by Joe Abercrombie with The Blade Itself, Before They Were Hanged, and The Last Argument of Kings. All unread, all here. Wow. Wow. That's a lot of books. That was a lot of books. Okay, so those are all of the books that I have on my physical TBR. I mean, technically, I have The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings set here. And I have read I've read The Hobbit, but years and years ago, and I have read half of this. So I guess you could count the 3rd book in The Lord of the Rings as well as TBR. But I think that's it. I think that is it. I think that's everything. It feels like when I could see them on the shelf, I was like, it's 3 shelves, it's fine. It's not too bad. But seeing these all spread out around me in this big pile, I'm like, that's a lot of books. I believe, I will double check, I will double count and put the number here, but I believe it's around 80. So that's quite an increase from 26, that it is now quite significantly higher, like 50 books higher. And that I have just made a Blackwell's order for The Blackest Heart and the 2nd and 3rd book in the Crown of Feathers series. So let me know what books I should prioritise. I've got a lot of starts of series here, so let me know what series I should be starting first. What should I be prioritising in? Probably 2022, because I'm not going to be able to get to that many of these in 2021 anymore, especially with I'll be finishing the series that I've started, but let me know what series I should be starting next year and for the rest of the year, what I should be prioritising. Are any of your favourite books here? I have a lot of, it's predominantly adult epic fantasy, so let me know what adult epic fantasy I should be prioritising, because I feel as though those are the series that I'm going to have to slot in and put in as a prioritisation, whereas I can fit in the YA ones in between. They don't require the plan or the mental planning for them, whereas I feel for me to get the Black Prism in, I'm gonna have to schedule it in, plan to read that book. But let me know what I should prioritize, if any of these are your favorites, or if there are any here that you actually don't like and you think I won't like. I have relatively recently done an unhaul, so I think everything here I pretty much do want to keep. There isn't anything here that I'm not fussed about, and generally when I unhaul, it's books that I've already read, and so I know that I don't like them, and not books that I haven't given a try to. Let me know how many books you have on your physical TBR. I know quite a few people, 80, for some people 80 is a lot. For some people 80 books on your TBR is loads, and for some people 80 books is hardly anything. So let me know where you fall with that, and I would like to thank everyone that has gifted me a book in the last year, because the majority of these have been gifts, and I'm so thankful, so thankful for everyone that has gifted me a book. I'm so thankful of people watching my channel as a whole, and just being here and supporting me. Like, I'm so thankful. Yeah, so thank you so much. Quite a few of these have been like Christmas or birthday gifts, so thank you. I do endeavour to get to them all in my due time. I will take it upon myself to read them. But seriously, thank you. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you in my future videos. Bye!